Welcome to A Meaningful Marketplace.
I'm Sarah Masoni from Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center, where I've helped countless dreamers launch their new food products. It's the science of taking a food delight from the kitchen to mass manufacturing and still keeping its great taste. That's what I do. I've been called the woman with the $1 million palate, although I haven't tried to cash that check yet. Listen in weekly for real-life stories.
I'm Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce and author of Preservation Pantry, modern canning from root to top and stem to core. I love inspiring business owners to get started on their journey, encourage folks to be part of their local community, and I'm excited to help business owners tell their stories. Hello and welcome to the Meaningful Marketplace. We are here weekly to discuss the journeys of food entrepreneurs. We are glad you've joined us today as we bring you stories of hope and inspiration. This is Sarah Marshall, owner of Marshall's Hot Sauce. Sarah Masoni is still out on leave, but she should be back with us next week. We have been partnering with the Regional Food Business Center to bring you guests from the 6-state region. We're currently meeting with business owners from the great state of Wyoming, and I'd like to welcome our co-host, Melissa Hemken. She is the owner of Melissa Huff Hatchery, raising heritage chickens and growing heirloom garlic in Wyoming. She's also a regional storyteller. Thank you for being our Wyoming expert as we meet all these great new friends. Melissa, I'm glad you're back.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for helping me come along with you guys.
Anything in Wyoming we can tell people about?
Oh, well, farmers markets are just starting up here in the first part of June. Lots of things are growing, and I just saw scapes on my garlic for the first time today, which I was like, I saw one. But some other exciting things, Wyoming's really rural. We only have like 500,000 people here. That's 500,000 people in the whole state. And sometimes it can be really difficult to get things like equipment or seed, especially for specialty crop, which is what I grow. Even poultry are considered a specialty crop here in Wyoming. And I just met this fabricator from Orland, Wyoming, who makes all these specialty small-scale farming implements. And he's going to make me an undercutter. But I was so excited to find him on the internet. I was like, wait, you're in Orland? I don't have to pay shipping, because most of the time you have to pay a lot of shipping to get stuff in rural areas. And it was so much fun to visit with him. He grows a lot of fruits and vegetables for his family, and he goes around and talks to a lot of other farmers because he's making implements for him. And so I was excited to meet another very important person in our food system, is someone who knows how to weld and build things. I was like, that's excellent. I'm so glad I met you. And I'm going to tell everybody about you and your company and and how you can help them.
What is his company and what is an undercutter?
Okay. His company is called U.S. Small Farm Equipment, and he ships nationally he specifically does smaller scale farm equipment. Our U.S. agriculture can be very large scale. You have 32 row planters or something like that. And that doesn't work for folks that's a lot of garlic if you have a 32 row planter. I have a 1/4 acre of garlic, and that's still a lot of garlic. But if you need a 32 row planter, that's a ton of garlic. And his name is Eric. And an undercutter is an implement that mounts on the 3-point of a tractor. And you would pull it underneath a bed of like potatoes or garlic or a root crop. And it pops it up to the surface where you could just pick it up. So it's basically a blade mounted on a frame that mounts on that 3-point on the tractor.
Oh, perfect. So you're going to get one from Eric that's fit for you and your garlic farm. Special for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't have to pay shipping. It's even more exciting.
That's so cool. And you mentioned scapes earlier. I am currently fermenting some leek scapes and garlic scapes for a special sauce that I'm doing for the Hot Sauce Expo that's happening here in Oregon in August. But, I'm starting the project now, but I'm doing all fermented leek scapes and garlic scapes for my garden. And then my friend from Foglight Farm is growing all these specialty peppers for me for the Hot Sauce Expo. So I'm making an extra spicy sauce. So that's what I've been working on.
Ooh, yeah. Pepper plus fermented. Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I have never done the Hot Sauce Expo before, but it's where they have hot sauce makers from not just our state, from Oregon, but from all around the country. They come and There's about, I think this year there's going to be 45 different hot sauce makers there, but they do it all around. So they do a Portland one, a New York, and a few other ones. I think one in Philly, a couple other places.
So if there's 45 sauce makers, how many flavors are going to be there?
Well, so many, because I mean, I will probably bring, I have like 27 flavors that are registered with the FDA, but I won't bring all of them, but I am going to do a couple new ones. So I'll probably bring like 15. And I know my friend David, he goes every year and he usually brings like 20. So that's just with two makers. They'll be like,
Wow.
so there'll be a lot. And, the guests that come, like the people that come to just participate, they bring little belts with like bottles of milk because their mouth gets so spicy, and like little bags with crackers and chips to like cool their mouth down.
This is serious. This is so serious.
It's serious. I'm very excited about it.
Oh man, that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's my first year going as a vendor because I'm usually at the farmer's market, but my friend is going to work my farmer's market booth and I'm going to go do the hot sauce expo. So I'm pretty stoked. It's going to be a wild ride.
It definitely sounds like it.
Yeah, I'll make sure to post pictures and tell our listeners about it after it happens.
Yeah, like what? Do they have a competition? Do you get to vote in your favorite
No,
sauce?
there's not really a competition. I think they try to keep things really friendly, since it's a bunch of hot sauce makers all together. So they do a competition as far as they do like a hot wing challenge where somebody else makes a really spicy sauce and then, shoppers try to eat it. But it's not like coming from the different makers. I think the people that put on the show do that. So, yeah. So it's just supposed to be a real fun hang.
It's going to be like a Comic Con of hot sauce type thing.
Yeah. People wear wild outfits and it gets real
they
fun.
do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we would like to encourage you to connect with your state by signing up for the Regional Food Business Center newsletter. It's a breeze to sign up. Just go to Northwest Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center.com, hit connect with us, and choose the button to receive newsletters. And we want to thank our sponsor for supporting the Meaningful Marketplace. Thank you for helping us spread the word about small business owners and entrepreneurs. Let's hear a word from our sponsor. The Northwest and Rocky Mountain Regional Food Business Center is the proud sponsor of the Meaningful Marketplace podcast, giving a voice to food from across the 6-state region of Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming. The Food Business Center supports Northwest and Rocky Mountain food industry makers as part of the USDA's National Network of Food Business Centers, supporting a more resilient, diverse, and competitive food system as a go-to source for small and mid-tier food and farm businesses with a focus on underserved communities, providing education in the form of technical knowledge, business programs, and industry news. We sponsor trade shows, meetups, and conferences to connect growers, producers, retailers, distributors, and processors, all to stimulate business and raise the standards of our storied food industry. Join us as we travel through the 6-state region, learning more about food makers, food hubs, and food systems. Visit the website at Northwest Rocky Mountain Regional Food Businesses.com to get connected. And I would like to introduce you to Beau Fowler. He is the owner of Eterna Fresh, making freeze-dried fruits, veggies, meat, and dairy in Buffalo, Wyoming. We're delighted to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Hello, guys. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me here, Sarah and Melissa. It's an honor and privilege to be here.
Well, we always like to connect our listeners to you and give them the best way to follow you and your story. So how can they find your social media and find you online?
Yeah, so we got a Facebook page at Eterna Fresh, and we have a website at eternafresh.com.
Perfect. We usually like to start at the beginning of your journey. So what inspired you to start Eterna Fresh, and how did you get into freeze drying?
Yeah, it's been a long and exciting journey. We started with big old gardens and big harvests, and we did the farmers market thing for many, many years here in Buffalo. And we took very good, care of our plants, so to speak, and passionate on growing good food. But it was tough. It was tough going to these smaller farmers market and trying to get our products out there. It was just a lot of work and low margins. And so I actually kind of spinned into cotton candy. I actually turned from veggies into cotton candy, selling it at farmers market and events. And then I got into kettle corn, and we did those at a bunch of events too. And we were just at a fair and rodeo one day, and so many people just loved our epic kettle corn that we wanted to find a way to preserve it. After you pop it, it's really only good for a couple of days. So we heard about the freeze drying process, and we bought our first little freeze dryer. And the first product we tried was our kettle corn, and it turned out amazing. It was awesome. It just gave it more crunch and gave it a lot longer shelf life. So that just opened up the floodgates to all of our other products and my original passion, which was, growing really good food.
And we've never had anybody on the show that has done freeze drying before. So just for our listeners out there, in case they don't know what we're talking about or haven't heard about it, can you explain what freeze drying is and what that process is all about and how it extends the shelf life of food?
Absolutely. It is truly a magical process. It starts with a freezing process. It takes your item and it takes it to generally about a minus 20 or 30 degree temperature where it freezes the water molecules out of the product. And then a vacuum hits it, and that vacuum will suck all the water crystals, so to speak, out of the product. And then it kicks onto a drying cycle where it'll actually slowly dry the product just right to where you just have this perfectly crunchy textured product left at the end of it. Where food goes bad is in the water. So when you take the water out of the food, you take a lot of the risk on it going bad or being contaminated with, unwanted pathogens, so to speak. And it's quite different than other traditional preservation models like dehydrating. Dehydrating is the other one. This one's a lot cleaner and a better process, and significantly expands your shelf life. Because you get rid of that water and you seal it right, you have products that can go many, many, many years. A lot of our products are good for 25 years. The science is probably even further than that, but a 25-year shelf life is pretty good. I think we stick with that.
Yeah, that's
a long time.
That's a long time.
It really
You
is.
said that
Yeah.
freeze drying is a cleaner process than dehydrating, and why so?
Partially because of the nutritional value of it. When you dehydrate, you actually do just a heat temperature treatment, right? It's just really hot. And so during that process, you're really cooking out a lot of that good nutritional value. So with freeze drying, you actually retain a significant amount of that original nutritional value from your product. Hard to say a number, depends on the product and water and whatnot, but generally, freeze drying, you can retain 80 to 90, 95% of the original nutritional value. Whereas with dehydrating, it's much, much, much lower. So that's kind of the cleaner part of it too, but also because you take that water out completely through that sublimation process. That's the actual scientific term to the freeze drying process to it. Just makes it a drier, crisper product than the dehydrating.
That's really cool. I did see on your website you're still sticking to your roots of the cotton candy and the kettle corn, and you sell the freeze-dried cotton candy and kettle corn on there. Are they some of your top sellers?
Yeah, I just can't get away from that sticky, spinny stuff. I really wanted to, I sold so much sugar at the fair and rodeos that I was like, I got to sell some apples. I got to really equalize this battle here. But no, we still make it, and yeah, it's amazing. It does actually change the taste and quality of the cotton candy. We sell a lot of freeze-dried cotton candy, and we sell a lot of freeze-dried kettle corn. It's two products I still like to make somehow after many, many, many years of being covered in sugar and corn oil and all that fun stuff. But yeah, we still offer those two products for sure.
That's cool. I also saw that you do some pretty cool things with banana chips. So you have like strawberry dusted and blueberry dusted banana chips. Can you tell us about those?
Yes, I think we've got 6 flavors of banana chips. And those are probably some of our best sellers. They're delicious. We've got strawberry dusted, blueberry dusted, coconut dusted, cinnamon dusted, cayenne pepper dusted, and the regular dusted. And I think I'm probably forgetting one, but the Maui Thai one, which is kind of a weird one. But yeah, those are all of our bananas flavors. And yeah, our strawberry dusted bananas, those are probably our top sellers. They're just phenomenal. We used fresh chopped strawberries. And then we have kind of a process on how we get it to stick to that banana and just make an awesome snack that lasts a very long time.
Have you ever tried like a curry banana?
Ooh, I have not tried a
So the
curry banana.
first time I got introduced to curry banana pizza, I was doubtful. I was like, I love Canadian bacon and pineapple pizza, and I have a sweet tooth. But I was like, curry banana pizza? Like, I don't know. But there's something about that flavor combination that does work. And when you say cayenne banana, it just reminded me of that pizza flavor. I was like, oh, curry banana. Maybe.
Curry,
I don't know.
I will have to try that. That's the one thing. I mean, we try all kinds of new products. I think we're up to 100 certified products, so it's a lot. And we're constantly adding, subtracting, changing, modifying. And anytime we get a new idea like that, I'll try it. We've blown up a lot of stuff, that's for sure.
I've only seen the kind of freeze drying machines that are like, the countertop machines. Are you using like commercial freeze drying machines? And if so, how many machines do you have? And what's your commercial kitchen setup like?
Yeah. So we are located at the Bomber Mountain Civic Center here in Buffalo, Wyoming. We were kind of fortunate to find the space that we're at. They had 2 fully certified kitchens in the building. And then we actually gutted out the old basement, what we call it the dungeon, and we came in and we got a whole new certified kitchen down there where we started our freeze drying process. And, we were one of those, we just started with one little freeze dryer. It was a desktop model, same kind of deal. And then once we found the power of it, we said, hey, let's do this thing. And we bought, I think we're up to like 15 now commercial
Wow.
XL units down in our little kitchen in our dungeon. And the capacities, obviously went from just a couple bananas to lots of bananas. I mean, I think that first, couple months we were probably doing like maybe 40 pounds of bananas a month. And now we're doing, I don't know, 500, 600 pounds a week.
That's wild.
But just bananas. Yeah. So, that's a lot of banana peels, a lot of banana peeling, a lot of banana chopping, lots of bananas.
Well, I noticed on your website that you were selling a fertilizer that I think uses banana peels, and I was wondering if that was a way of using up all of those banana peels.
Yeah, we had to do something with them. I'm literally like tons of banana peels covered head to toe in banana peels. What do you do with them? I mean, you can naturally compost them, right? Throw them out in the garden and do that. But we came up with a really creative solution for them. And yeah, we were able to kind of find a way to condense them and powder them and turn them into a really eco-friendly fertilizer that actually has a lot of practical use. That you used to take a banana peel and throw it in your plant. You get that peel, it kind of rot and stink a little bit. With our Flexapeel banana fertilizer, you actually just take a couple scoops, add it to your plants, and then throw some water in there, and you're kind of achieving that same benefit of the banana peel.
So do you freeze dry the banana peels to then make them into the fertilizer?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got to freeze dry the banana peels. And, it's slimy, it's sticky, it's messy, but we freeze them first. We get them all hard, and then we break them into chunks that gives it a little bit more manageable portion to work with.
That's really cool. It's such a cool idea to use up everything. We love when people find uses for all the stuff that they're working with in the kitchen.
Yeah, there's a lot of waste products. A lot of our peels, we've kind of tried some other fertilizers and some other products that we can do with the waste. Love to be a zero waste company. It's pretty tough. There are some things that we just can't really get rid of. Like the water. Water's a big one too, and that's something we've been kind of playing with. Is what do we do with all this water? We got lots of water. Is it good? Is it bad? How can we use it? And so it's fun to learn these new things and try to find new innovative ways to use the waste.
How much water? Like, say you freeze dried a batch of bananas. How much water comes off of them?
So it all depends on how much water is in the product.
Yeah.
Like our watermelon, right? Watermelon's like mostly water. And it takes
water,
it's water, right? It takes forever to freeze dry. It's just such a long process. But I mean, when we run all watermelons, we'll get buckets and buckets of water from just a single process on just one machine or whatnot. Bananas are a little different, not as much water. The melons, they've got a lot of water. So it really just depends on the product and what they're composed of.
Could you like turn that water into something like a simple syrup or something along those lines?
You could. Now, the Department of Health might not really like that. There's some really legalities to that reuse of water. But no, you definitely could. There's definitely some, more research that needs to be done on what exactly is in the water and what you can actually do to it. We thought the same thing. It was like, hey, can we make like banana water or strawberry water, or hey, let's make some spirits out of this strawberry flavored water. It actually has like a weird funky taste to it. Like the strawberry water, it has like this hint of strawberry. It's not quite that strawberry taste. It's really weird. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of good.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you guys will figure it out. We just had somebody on the show that they take the whey from the cow milk, they call it cowcohol, and they turn it into alcohol. So, I mean, if they can do that, I'm sure that you'll figure out something to do with that water. I think at first when people have an idea, when no one's done it before, people are like, I don't know if you're allowed to do that. But then, once it's all like tested and run through, but to be an innovator, sometimes you have to hear no's before you hear yeses.
You do. And I kind of feel bad. It's funny because the health inspector's in our same building. And I'm like always running up there like, hey, can I do this? Or what happens if I do this? And so I can only imagine what's going through a head like this guy. Like, what is he thinking? What's he going to come up with next?
She's like, why do we have to be in the same building?
This is brutal, right?
That's too close.
Yeah, it's true. But I'm really working on some really funky items that are just, you got to have fun with it, be passionate about it. And so the one I'm working on right now is it's actually chocolate covered scrambled eggs.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's right. It's wild. It doesn't sound like you want to ever even eat that, right?
No.
It's like chocolate and scrambled eggs. Come on. But no, really, it's actually kind of weirdly good.
So I like puddings, and sometimes you can make puddings with a lot of eggs in them, and you like cook it down, or like a chocolate custard. Okay, maybe I'm getting with you here, Beau. All right.
Yeah, right. Like you guys, maybe you'll be my guinea pig. Maybe I'll send you guys, and you like try this out and tell me what you think. Because it's hard when I'm like constantly testing stuff, eating things. I'm like, yeah, I can pretty much eat anything,
You'll give it
a
a go.
Real connoisseurs, though,
I think.
Is there anything that you made and then it totally flopped? Like you thought it tasted great, and then when you kind of got it out to customers, they were like, nope, absolutely not.
Yeah, our ice creams took a lot of work to get down. Just the right mix, the right base. We do a lot of our homemade ice creams. And when I was first developing the products, I can't tell you how many times like it would like blow up in our machine and it would just be this big, sticky, weird mess. And it was really hard to get the consistency down. A lot of the ice creams out there, they have so many ingredients in them. Just, you look at some of them, you're like, what is this and that? And so to try to get rid of all of that and still retain that original ice cream taste was a big challenge. And so I thought it tasted good, but, sometimes you can get products that are like chalky, like yogurts. They get really chalky and it takes all the water out of your mouth. And it's kind of uncomfortable. It really is, but it's good. And so that was like one big challenge with our ice creams is like, how do we make this dissolve in your mouth, it still tastes like ice cream, keep all the junk out of it, and really make a good, clean product. And so that was one that, I did just so much testing, sent it to all my family and friends. I think they got sick of freeze-dried ice cream too. But we finally got it figured out, I just persevere through it and keep going until you figure out something that is kind of in the middle, not that chalky, but a creamy texture, what kind of milks you use, the sugars, there's so much that goes into that process to make a good product.
You mentioned that you started with vegetables before you even got to the candy corn and popcorn, which then got you to freeze drying. Do you find that people like your freeze-dried vegetables and fruits, or are they still sweet tooth and going for freeze-dried ice creams and things like that?
That's a great question. So we really have like two different product lines. We have our snack mix line of things, And that consists of our bananas or apples or watermelon or cantaloupes or ice creams and a few others that are really good just to have, like, road tripping, camping, doing your thing. Really healthy alternative snack. But then there's also the whole just single ingredients that we do. It's really separated from a lot of the market, is that we want our customers to be able to choose what they want and build their own meals with it. And so we have just, that the snack line's really strong. I think we're in like 12 convenience stores now, and they do very well. They do really awesome. But there's still just such a huge demand online for our single ingredients that I can't really tell, they both do really well.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to hear about your cookbooks that you have as well. So we'll be right back.
Oregon State University's College of Agricultural Sciences and the Food Innovation Center are proud sponsors of Meaningful Marketplace. With a mission to serve all Oregonians, we are committed to giving voice to those whose food and agricultural stories are not always heard. By providing access and opportunity for a more diverse and just food system, because food brings people together.
Okay, I noticed online that you do some cookbooks telling people how to cook with freeze-dried food, and they're digital cookbooks. They're a good way for people to support you and your business, and they look beautiful with some watercolor drawings. Can you tell people about the process of what it's like to put out a digital cookbook for your brand?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, like you said, a good way to build the brand awareness and help support the companies that you like to buy from. Each one of those cookbooks, I really took some time and worked on the covers and worked on the recipes. And with the freeze dried, it's all a lot of new stuff. So you really got to make sure your product is what it is in the cookbook. Test it, try it, send it to your family, have them and try it out and have fun with it. That was the biggest thing. Is I'm very passionate on food and good food. And so it really just empowered me to make cookbooks that other people can enjoy with our products and find a really practical use for them.
I think it is a really nice way to connect with customers and show them how to use a product that is pretty new to the market. Freeze drying isn't something that people are totally familiar with or they haven't been doing for a long time, because it's so much different than when things are dehydrated, because the rehydration time is so much quicker. And so people might not be so used to that. So they kind of need like a whole new instructional set that they wouldn't have before.
Yeah, it's tough. Each item kind of reconstitutes a little different. So you kind of have to get the feel with what you're using and what you're trying to make. We have a general guideline on that reconstitution, but it can vary. It can vary from every ingredient to the recipe that you're building.
When was freeze drying invented? Like, I know it's a little newer to be a common household thing, but have we had that technology for a while and we just didn't know about it?
Yes, it actually has been around for a while, probably a good 60 or 70 years. And a lot of it was, focused for military use, MREs, rationing, kind of a way to preserve food, for those applicable uses. And that's where it started. And then, the technology was so hard to kind of reproduce with the vacuuming and the heating and cooling and all of the parameters that go into it to make it really a good product. Because when you're dealing with food, you safety is number one, right? You got to make sure that it's safe to eat and that it's going to be good for your shelf life that you sell it as. And the freeze drying process does that. And yeah, it's evolved a lot from the start. And it's just recently, though, really started to be available for residents and even small commercial operations like ourselves, because they've made those advancements in the freeze drying technology. It used to be like entire rooms to make a meal of freeze drying, took huge vacuum chambers and all this crazy equipment. And now, Sarah was saying, they've got them down to, the desktop units and whatnot.
I bet you paid some shipping on your machines, though, living in Buffalo.
Yeah, you know all about that, don't you, Sarah? It's tough getting stuff out here. That's for dang sure. Yes, there was a lot that went into freight, for sure.
Yep. Pallets, probably.
Pallets and pallets and pallets. Yep.
And I saw that you have things like freeze-dried meat and dairy and cheese. Do you have to have a specific license in Wyoming to sell those kinds of things, or can you process them there in your facility with just a regular food handler license?
That's a good question. Yeah, since we were one of the first manufacturers in Wyoming to kind of go through all these hoops, we had to go through a lot of legal processes on how all this works and what we can and cannot do. And meats is a tricky one. It really is. It has to be, certified when it's packaged. And if it's certified and it's packaged, and then we use our certified kitchen and we do our certified process on the freeze drying, then we can resell it for that interstate sales, so to speak. So yeah, a lot of the meat that we get comes from one of our local, butchers. We have a couple local folks that working with on some grass-fed beef. That's something we offer on our website, and then just kind of a normal, like an 80-20 or 90-10 beef that we sell as well. But the meat one was tough. It really was. We had to get certified to cook it as well. So all of our meats are actually pre-cooked. You can actually eat them out of the bag, or you can, add that water, add them into the recipes that you're, looking to build. But it was a tough game to really get down. And it varies in each state. That's the one thing we've really learned, that, just because what we do in Wyoming, it might be a little different than Colorado or Oregon or Montana. And so it's very good to check with your local health inspector and see if, what exactly it takes to make those things happen.
For the more proteins like dairy and meats, do you have to have a dedicated freeze drying machine, and then like all the fruits are in a different one? Or do you just clean really well and it doesn't matter?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah, we actually have some machines that are just designated for our melons. Seem to actually do a little bit better on our melons. And so we try to keep those machines separated for the products. Yeah, we have kind of a meat one. But yeah, we're real thorough on our cleaning. Again, our safety is our biggest concern. I've got a great team that just understands the importance of safety and food handling, which is everything. Just from the point of when we pick it up to the point we get into the kitchen, to the point we freeze dry it and package it. There's a lot of steps. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. And so it's one thing we really train our staff on is, proper food handling and keeping the ingredients separate. I mean, obviously we don't want to be like, doing beef and ice cream at the same time. We try to do all ice creams one day and all beefs the next or whatnot. And then we do thorough cleaning in between and whatnot. Yeah.
It seems to me like all of, the things that you were saying when you're cooking the meats, and I saw that you have like rice and things like that. That seems like it would be great food and packaged meals that would be good for people who are doing, like camping and outdoor things. We have a lot of people here that are hiking, like the Pacific Crest Trail is like a big thing where people are, taking their food in their backpack. Like that's when I saw those things on your website, I was like, oh, that's so perfect for those people. Like, do you ever try to sell your products to like outdoor stores like REI or places like that?
Yeah, for sure. And we're trying to expand more of those markets because you're right. It's a perfect fit for it. And I had to try it for myself. I was like, okay, I'm going to go out in the woods. I went elk hunting last year and I was like, I'm just bringing the freeze dried stuff and I'm only going to just eat freeze dried for a week. Let's see what happens. And actually it was phenomenal. It was great. Like I had, beef tortillas and chicken every night. Like I was spoiled. It was easy. I wasn't having to cook a bunch, just kind of add some water and reheat it and get it to where I liked it. And so, yeah, that's a huge market, is that outdoor, the camping. It's light too, if you're backpacking. Meats is another one. Like, how do you take cold beef in with you on like a 3 or 4 day backpacking trip? It's just really tough, but now you can just throw a bag of this and, as long as it doesn't get too warm or, it does really, really good. And so, yeah, the outdoor market is one that we're continuing to focus on. And we're always looking for new partnerships. We're always looking for new stores or new people that are in those fields that, want to expand the product lines for some of these things that we offer.
What's like something unique to Wyoming? I'm assuming you sell out of state, or maybe do you only sell in Wyoming?
No, we do all 50 states. Yep.
Yeah. So is there anything unique? Like I'm always intrigued by regional tastes, or even more smaller than that, like local tastes. Is there anything that you notice like Wyoming buys and no one else does? Like, oh, Wyoming.
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
Everybody's a fan of the bananas. No, unfortunately, Wyomingites aren't like, specific to one product. Not yet.
Okay.
Not maybe when I come up with that chocolate scrambled eggs or something funky like that. Maybe so, right?
No, what it would be is like something with Rocky Mountain oysters. Like that would be a Wyoming product. Have you ever tried that, Beau?
I have not. No, I have not.
I don't know if you could get that through Consumer Health though, because
Yeah.
generally where I've seen it is like, sorry, Sarah, but this is very Wyoming. You're at a branding and there's a nut bucket and it's going everywhere and there's dust kicked into it and the 2-year-old is carrying it around. And then everyone just takes it to the kitchen, washes them off and throws them on the grill. That's how I've had Rocky Mountain oysters.
See, you're giving me ideas right now. I'm going to have to go to my health inspector tomorrow. I'm going to go up to her office and be like, I got a new one. And this one.
Got a new idea.
And it's branding season right now, so you can get a lot of them.
A lot of free oysters, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
Not a bad idea.
Have you ever had them, Sarah? Rocky
No.
Mountain oysters?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. You better come visit us in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
They might be hard to source if we're not in branding season. But if we're in branding season, which is the spring, we can get you some real fresh ones.
The real deal. The real deal.
Okay, it might be worth a trip. I can bring some hot sauce to put on them.
Ooh,
Make
that
anything-
actually,
make anything
that would
good.
actually be really good. Yeah.
Well, we always like to ask if our guests have any advice for people who are currently dreaming up a business. Do you have any advice for those folks?
Preservation. You just got to keep going. You've got to really be determined. It's taken a lot of work to get to this point, and I'm very passionate about it, but I wouldn't take back any minute. We had an opportunity to be on the Food Network last July, and that really helped excel our business and the opportunities with it. But anybody can really do it. You just have to push and keep pushing. I mean, there were times where I was shipping until 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and playing multiple hats in the business. And that's what it takes, is just that determination, that grit to keep pushing, to keep going, and to be confident in your product. Be passionate about what you do, believe in it, and the rest is easy. If you're enjoying what you're doing, then it's pretty easy.
What do you think was the kind of scale where all of a sudden you could hire someone to do that and like get less hats, and all of a sudden it became like more fluid and you felt like you knew what you were doing, or you actually did know what you were doing? I always feel like when I start to know what I'm doing, I realize how much I don't know. What was that tipping point of like, whoa, okay, we're going somewhere now?
I think it was when we got into our first retail store. And it was a convenience store. It's got chains and they're all over. And we did our first test pilot store, and I was real nervous. I was like, I don't know how this is going to play out. Freeze drying, it's generally a little more expensive, right? You got to go through that process. So you pay more for that preservation. But we put our product in there, and the first week it sold out. And I had one of the main sales managers call me and I was like, wow, dude, what is going on here? I said, we love this product and it sold really well. And he goes, well, we've got another store. And right off the bat, we got another one. And that's when I went home and said, man, we got to scale up. We got to find more hands and helpers. So it was really that first like fish on the hook there. Once we got it landed, we really knew that this was something special.
I love that feeling where it's like, oh, yay, our stuff is selling. And then you're like, oh, no, I have to make more. It's like exciting, but then also immediately you have to figure out a new plan,
It's true. And I would have never imagined we would be where we're at. And it's just taken a lot of team players to get there. You got to find people that are passionate with what you're doing as well, and get them on board. And luckily we've got a team that all understand the power of freeze drying, and specifically that we don't have to add preservatives. That's a big one in today's, world, so to speak. And that's what really made us passionate, is like, this is good food. It's quality. Doesn't have a bunch of junk in it, and it still tastes awesome.
Buffalo is a smaller town. I live over here in the west side of the state in Lander. It's about the size of Lander, right, Beau? Buffalo?
Yeah.
It's like 7,000
close.
people. Has it been more difficult in a small town to find the team that you need? Because sometimes, if you're in It has been. Okay.
Yeah. We've went through some help, and you're right. When you get in rural Wyoming, small towns, you kind of have a select market of people to hire. And we were fortunate. I found a few early on that have been with me from the start, and they've just been phenomenal. Again, they see our mission and they really stick to it. But yeah, that's a big challenge, especially when you have to scale up. If we're going from 50 pounds of bananas a month, 500 a week, that's a huge scaling factor. And there's a lot of logistics that go into that to keep your bananas from going bad, process them and all, and having everybody on the same page. There's a lot of components that go into these businesses. And it's best start small and figure it out. Find a niche, find a way to where you can scale up and do it to where it's not going to break the bank either. That was the other big thing is scaling with cost, and that was tough. There's been a lot of logistic challenges thus far.
Well, this is always my least favorite part, which is the time where we have to go. But I loved hearing about you and your business and all the things you're doing. It's great to see you navigate this new world and this new freeze drying world, and all your products seem super fun and exciting. So I want to encourage people to order from your website because you do ship everywhere. So let's tell people one more time how to order from you directly.
That's right. Yep. You can order online at eternafresh.com. And right now we got a summer promo going off, 20% off the whole site, free shipping over 50. So now's the time to get on and try our bananas, try our products, and give us your feedback. Tell us what you guys think.
Perfect. And if people are in your area, what's the best way to go and buy from you in person? Is there a way for them to do that?
Yeah, we got a couple store locations here in Buffalo. We've got one at the Zip Trip convenience store here in town, and we have a few other smaller stores that you can find. We have all our store locations online. We have a little map that shows you where to get them on. So if you're coming through Wyoming or Montana, get on, check us out. There's lots of places to find our products.
And if people want the next specialty thing that you're making, does it show up online first? Like, how do they get chocolate covered scrambled eggs?
Yes, follow our Facebook. That's a good way to check us out. We're always doing new releases there, and definitely that chocolate scrambled eggs it's right around the corner.
Okay. All right. I'm going to have to try that now, especially when I started thinking custard. I was like, oh, maybe there's some merit.
Well, Beau, it was great to chat with you today. Thanks for telling us about your business and taking the time to tell us your story.
It's been an honor. Thank you, Sarah and Melissa.
Thank you for listening to the Meaningful Marketplace podcast. Before you go, show some love for your favorite podcast by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. You can follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Meaningful Marketplace Podcast. And you can call or text Sarah and I with questions at 503-395-8858. We couldn't do this without our fantastic team at Joy of Creation Production House. Thank you to Dave, our production coordinator, and Haley, our audio engineer. We will be back next week, everybody. Thanks for joining. Bye.